Hey guys, what is going on? It's me, Mad of Virals Gaming, with my first impressions of Destiny after playing it for nearly 2 weeks. There are good bits to it, but there are also bad bits. It's by no means a perfect game, and I'm not going to sit here and say it is, because it has its flaws. But they're not stand out in the sense that they'll turn you away. They'll happen, but you can just get on with it in the end. Now, regarding the story, I do agree on the fact that it was a little short, but I think if you play it by yourself and you listen to the ghost, there is a lot of lore that he mentions. And if you listen out for it, it does kind of make you curious. That's the best way to put it. It makes you curious. You kind of want to know what's going to happen next, because I really want to know what the hell the Vex are going to do next. I really do. So hopefully they'll release the story in an episodic style, but there's no guarantee of that. There's a good chance that'll all come out in expansion packs, but they might be generous and give something for free, who knows. It is Bungie after all. I personally don't feel the gameplay is that repetitive, because after playing on different difficulties, no strike is the same. Like, if you're doing the Queen's Wrath, you'll find that it's not hard as such, but the enemies you face on the way to the boss are pretty damn difficult to take down, especially if you let them get a couple of hits on you, because you'll be dead instantly. And I'm guessing, as you play on higher difficulties, well, the harder it's going to get. That's just the way it works. And the AI itself are all very different. Like, the Vex are very regimented. You'll see when they spawn in, they form in a perfect line as if they are just a machine. Essentially, that's what they are, a machine marching towards you. The Cabal are pretty brutish, pretty aggressive, and pretty Roman-like in a way. And the Vex, no, not the Vex, sorry, the Hive Mind and the Fallen are very sporadic, very much like your scavengers. They're not really organised in any way, but they each have their own uniqueness to them. And I can see why people say it's repetitive, because it does have its moments. I mean, I guess doing the same thing and fighting the same boss does get repetitive after a while, but when you're doing it with friends, or if you're doing it on a high difficulty, it can be fun. And that's the key thing here, because Destiny is a lot of fun to play. If you just take that for what it is and just go with it, you'll enjoy it. There's so much expectation placed on games nowadays that you're almost expected to get let down. And if you approach this game with a negative set of thoughts about it, you're not going to enjoy it. That's just what I think. If you're going to approach a game negatively, you're not going to enjoy it. The same thing happened with Titanfall, but that was so hyped up that when it came out, people were just like, yeah, it's shit. And I mean, I can't personally judge Titanfall because I never played it, but it's not a perfect game, but there are a lot of people who are enjoying it. Is it a dead game? It probably isn't if people are online and playing it. The same applies to Destiny. If you're going to sit there and say, the game is dead after 2 weeks, it's not. There are players online. I can go on now, find a game of Control, and play with about 12 players. And that's kind of the rant side over. I might rant a bit more in this commentary. Who the hell knows? There is another major gripe that I have in particular, and that is with the loot system. But hopefully that has been updated or changed, because it is pretty annoying getting a blue engram and only getting a green, or getting a purple engram and thinking, oh, it's going to be a legendary, but no! It's a legendary or blue for another fucking class. Yay, thanks Bungie. I mean, the loot system generally works out quite well, and I've got a legendary helmet just from doing the Queen's Wrath, so I was pretty chuffed about that. But it does feel like you're doing all that grinding in and getting nothing out of it at times. I wish they could be a bit more generous with the loot in terms of when you're winning games. If you win and come first, you should really get something special. If you're finished with a certain KD, or if you're in control and you cap a certain amount of flags, you should get a reward for that. It should be based on how well you do in the game, I think. Same applies in strikes really, but then you'll get something from strikes regardless of what well, you'll get something from strikes depending on the difficulty. That's my input there. The Crucible it's okay. As far as multiplayers go, it is a lot better in my opinion than Ghost, because I found Ghost to be horrible. But in Destiny I kind of just, there's more fluidity to it. Even on bigger maps, like, whole finding players isn't that difficult. You'll find players if you know the routes. And even maps like Meridian Bay, which is quite big, is okay in a sense. I guess people are a bit annoyed with vehicles, and I can understand that because they are fucking annoying at times, but they are in the game for a reason and they ought to be there to be used. Do you have a Sparrow? Use it. It'll get you around it'll get you somewhere quicker than walking, that's for sure. I guess the supers are a bit of an annoyance, but then they're not that frequent as people seem to think. I mean, it depends on how well the other person does, but I find you'll get them like occasionally, and if you're walking over orbs of light, of course you're going to get your super quite quickly. A lot of the Crucible, it's a lot of there is a bit of a learning curve because you need to be accurate, because I find I overestimate my aim quite a lot. A lot of my complaints are more about how well I'm doing in terms of the game, because I'm doing okay, but I mess up occasionally, I make mistakes. Other than that, I don't have a major problem with the Crucible. I actually enjoy it when I'm on with friends. It's a lot of fun with friends, but when you're by yourself, it can be quite a chore going in and having to be put with randoms who just don't seem to have a clue, or don't understand the point of control and don't go and cap objectives. Most of the time they're okay, but sometimes they're just a bit annoying. Overall, I am really enjoying the cooperative aspect of the game, and whilst it's not a full MMO in the aspect that there are millions of players to come across, it does have those elements. The loot, obviously, the missions, and the whole teaming up with players. It is an online game in the sense that it is kind of combining MMO and RPG. The strike missions are a lot of fun when played with friends, or even with random, because it can be a interesting experience. Don't get me wrong, I've had randoms rage quit on me, but I've had randoms join pretty much immediately afterwards and help me defeat a boss, which is kinda incredible. And the general way of interacting with players, with pointing and waving, it's quite funny actually, because actions can speak louder than words in many cases. And I believe that is it overall. I am enjoying Destiny. Very rare that I'll have a game that makes me want to come back home and play it constantly. Like, I'll be at work, and when it's close to finishing work, I'll be thinking, I really want to go and play Destiny. I don't know why, it just draws me in because it's my type of game. Science fiction has always been one of my favourite genres. Whether it's Halo or Destiny, because you can't really compare the two, they are two totally different franchises in the sense that Halo is more established for one, it has more lore to it, and Destiny's only just begun. We're only in the beginning of it. It's been 2 weeks. For crying out loud, it's been 2 weeks, and people were saying it's dead. I mean, on release, the amount of hate this game got, I'm just going to touch on this briefly, the amount of hate this game got really pissed me off, because it made me think that we are spoilt little bastards when it comes to games. These developers, right, put as much time as possible into making these games for us, and we just go tell them, oh, your game's shit, this and that. Honestly, sit there and say that you could do that yourself, unless you are a skilled games designer. Now, a lot of the opinions came from people who had at least took the time to play it for God knows how long. But if you haven't played it, or have just played the alpha and the beta and just jumped to conclusions there and then I don't know what to say to you, because I know I won't change your opinion. If you think it's shit, you think it's shit. But for crying out loud, God, don't do it with any... I don't know what to say. Because it's gonna happen to the Division. I can just say it happening. The Division's gonna come out and people are gonna be like, oh, it's good, it's gonna be good, it's gonna be great, but then they're gonna be like, shit. Advanced Warfare. I will laugh my arse off. Honestly, guys, I will laugh my arse off if Advanced Warfare comes out and people are like, this is the best game ever! Ah! It wouldn't surprise me, because the people, and it'll be the people who said Destiny was shit and everything, they'll say this is the best game ever. And yet, I'll look at Advanced Warfare and the double jump and the whole weapons in the game. It's no different from the Crucible. You take out the super ability and some of the grenades, it's no different from the Crucible. And you know what? The Advanced Warfare multiplayer, from what I've seen, will have a lot more bullshit in it. I mean, think about all the equipment you've got, all the weapons. I mean, it's gonna be an interesting year. Well, end of the year, as such. I'm guessing I'm being blunt, because frankly, I feel I need to be. In terms of expression. If you disagree with this commentary, guys, you are more than welcome to. I respect that opinion. But for crying out loud, Destiny is not dead, and it's not a bad game. It's far better than what I've played recently. It's better than Black Ops 2, and it's better than Ghost. And that is, well, that's my opinion. But I will say, if you're not into a game that requires grinding, then it isn't for you. If you're just going to play it for the multiplayer, it isn't for you. It requires you to do a bit of both, balance both of them. Do the strikes, do the Crucible, just mix it up. Just relax, enjoy it for what it is. It's gonna be developed, and we are living in a generation of games which will have DLC. Instead of complaining about that, accept it. The same applies to things like quick scoping and things like this and that. Yeah, we'll get angry at it, but it's there and it's gonna stay. That's the end of that argument in a way, because it's not going anywhere. It's not going anywhere. Maybe this is, like I said, I'm being blunt, but Hey, you can disagree with it, that's fine, I understand. And with that, I have been starting mad at Virals Gaming. I'm going to shut up now because I've talked for like 11 minutes. You're probably lulled into half asleep. You're probably thinking, when's he going to shut up? But that's it, that's all I've got to say on Destiny. And I will ask, post your honest opinion of both this commentary and Destiny, because I would love some feedback, and I really would, I'm serious, I would love some feedback. So, thanks for watching guys, and I will see you in the next video. I'm out.